Are we live? We're live. So, hey everyone, Lasher Luke here doing something a little bit different today, not talking about Dr. Stone or Promised Neverland or the Promised Neverland anime, thank God. But anyway, I am here with Sid, who some of you who have seen some of my videos in the past will know that when I first started doing Promised Neverland, he appeared quite often until the YouTube copyright system got in the way and I had to delete them. But yeah, so we're here today. We're going to be talking about Bleach and just doing a tier list because Bleach is coming back. The anime is coming back, and I've said that I would like to collab again on a project, and this is the project. So Sid, if you want to say how you got into Bleach and like what impact it had on you as a person.
Yeah, it's cool. So hello everyone. I'm Sid. I write books and I am Luke's friend. Yay! So I got into Bleach when I was in college. So it was when before YouTube copyright laws got like super strict. And a friend of mine, or a friend of a friend, was in the library and he was watching the Bleach Byakuga fight. Yeah, he goes Apollo for the first time, and I was like, "What is that? That looks awesome!" And he was like, "Oh, it's this anime called Bleach. Every episode's like up on YouTube." This was back in like 2006, I think, 2005.
Yeah, it was probably around that. It was probably around that time when it first came out.
Yeah, so I was like, "This looks really cool," so I just started watching it.
All right,
and I was like, "This is awesome."
All right, so just before we start, I'm just going to announce to a couple of peeps on Twitter that I've gone live. They're doing this all manually. So there we go. We've got it all going live. I've got the chat up as well and everything. So we should be good to go. Hopefully. Oh, we've got someone. Well, that's probably me watching because I've got it on another tab, but hopefully others will appear that I know from the Discord server. Like I'm hoping the Control Chaos guys have a chance to come in and have a look at this and get their opinions on it. But yeah, got about 31 fights here. Most, as I'm sure a lot of you can see and Sid can see, are from the final arc, so they have yet to be animated. And obviously the final arc has I know it's not the best arc in the series, but it's my personal favorite. It was the one that I started reading on a weekly basis, and I have fond memories of reading it. So yeah, so where did it go? There it is. So we're going to start now. First things up is Uri versus Mayuri. Now, I first saw this fight when I watched it. Like I'm sure a lot of people watched it first before starting reading it, but I have to say this is probably one of the more memorable fights of the series because it's the first time we got to see Uryu at like his full power. I mean, it was the first time we got to see Bonkai, and Mayuri as a character, he is one freaky mama jammer. Like
he's the best. He is the best.
Is he your favorite captain?
No, but he's at first. I've never really liked his design. It's always creeped me out, which is kind of. I think point.
That is the
point. But I liked the character development he goes on throughout the series, and the fact that he's, like you said, this is the first time we ever see a Bankai.
Yeah.
And he states that he experiments on his Bankai. And it's like, you don't know what they are yet. You don't know much about them. And then later on in the series, like when Ichigo gets taught about it, because obviously we, as the audience, we see things through him because he's learning about the world at the same time we are. And you're like, oh, Bankai, these like big spiritual things, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, how the hell did you experiment on that?
I know.
Nutter.
I know.
You absolute nutter.
And then we get into the fight itself, and it's quite personal for Uryu as well, which I think is what makes it elevate it amongst the other fights in the series. Because most of the time, there's not really any like personal like attachment with the fights like you can really grasp to. But with this fight being like, I want to say. I mean, Uryu did fight against Jumbo's brother before this fight, but I want to say this is like, in terms of his fights in the series, this is like his first major fight in the series, and they start off with a whopper, like him, Mayuri being the guy who not only experimented on basically the rest of his clan up until we find out about the final arc, but also his own grandfather as well. And I feel like that is like, oh my god, that is like some Full Metal Alchemist, like, you know, the bit that I'm talking about. That's like some Full Metal Alchemist, like
word. I'm a monster.
Just on a tangent here. I just love seeing people's reaction to this day to that scene, and just how messed up that scene actually is for a lot of people. But yeah. And I love the fact of, I just like the way how Uryu and Mayuri are like two of the more unique fighters of the series, because they're not fighters that are just like, we're just going to go all in, swords up. Like, they're more like tactful fighters, and it was interesting to see. People say that the final Gets Contention was a cop-out, which it is pretty much. But I want to say there was like a little bit of foreshadowing here with like Uriel. He got this immense power, but if he used it, he was going to lose his powers seemingly forever. So it was kind of like a parallel that was going on there between when you got to Isaac, because it was very clear that during that fight in the first half, Uriel was outclassed by Mayuri. Like, he was clear.
The captains are like heralded as, they are the absolute top dogs. They are insanely powerful. Their lieutenants aren't near them.
Yeah, until you get to the Espada, and then it's
then things tip. But like, it's and he's the first one that takes out a captain, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the first one that because you had Ichigo took out like Ikaku first, and then before he took out Kenpachi. But no, Uri was the first one to take out a captain, and like when Uri went what was it called? Let's Steal. That's it. There was nothing Mayuri could do, and it was like, okay, I'm going to get out of here before things go south.
Just like, nope, I'm done. Bye.
Yeah.
I'm done.
And here's the thing. Should have Uryu gone and got his revenge at some point against Mayuri? Like, properly, like, gone and be like, I need to kill this guy because he killed my grandfather.
I mean, it depends how, as an author, I've written revenge stuff, and it's like, it depends how you want the character to go. If you want them to get the revenge, because that's the main purpose of their arc, once they've achieved it, what's the point in them being around? And that would have been really early in the series if you got it here. He could have got it later, but then it's kind of the whole... It's difficult, because it's like it's not like he kind of accepted his place and was like, do you know what? Like, Shinigami, we're cool now.
Yeah,
it kind of does because of Ichigo. But it's
I've got to say one thing. Man. When you get a chance to read or watch Hunter, there is a point where it's like the main character does go down that path, and it's very dark. And it's like, wow, and it's like the consequences for that are like really severe, kind of in the same way that happens here as well. Yeah, like, but on a much more grander scale, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I will say, go and watch or read that if you get the chance. And you know how you just said about going and getting revenge, and that's kind of like what I'm because obviously, you know, I'm writing my second book at the moment. One of the characters in that book is going to go down a dark path at one point that's going to have consequences in the third book. Like, they're going to turn like proper dark because of what happens, and it's kind of, and I've kind of been building that up. Like, they're being a bit too clingy to this character. Make sure that something bad's not going to happen to them. Something bad's going to happen to them.
That's what 2020/2021 needs, more darkness.
Yeah, but in terms of this fight, I actually would put it in the great category. It's a great introduction to like what the characters are capable of, how they're all different, how they all have their own unique personalities, like truly seeing what a Bonkai is actually capable of. But I wouldn't put it in like amazing or god tier, but in terms of like just a great introduction to like what the fights could actually turn out to be, I would definitely put it in great. Would you agree with that? Or
I'd say amazing.
Oh, go on. Say why.
because the animation goes up a notch because they blatantly save the budget for the intense fights.
Yeah,
It's like, because you don't know where the series is going, you don't know how long it's going to run for. At this stage, when it's case I'm putting my all on the line, I will give up my powers, and I'm probably gonna die here. It's like you kind of, as an audience, member, be like, oh, he could actually die, like he could die here, and then it's got that amazing creepiness factor with the Bankais, the big old baby face, and vomiting blades and like creepiness and stuff. You get so much information, and it's such a unique system.
Yeah,
like that's completely just Bleach. It is literally Bleach personified. That's the major thing from it. Bankais and Shikais and stuff. It's such a cool thing.
Yeah,
and this established it. And I think, and like you said, there's the emotional weight to it as well. So I'd really say amazing. Plus, it's one of the only fights that I've rewatched multiple times.
Okay.
Like, because I just love it, and I actually referenced it in the university paper once.
That's quite interesting. You were, because obviously I've read your book series, and like the power system in that was pretty similar. You said at one point that it was similar to the power system in Bleach, and where you had the swords or the weapons actually changing forms. And I could see that, and I thought that was quite a nice reference you had there. So. Yeah, I can agree with that. Putting it in amazing.
Yeah, I think amazing for that one is really good.
Yeah,
really, really fun fight.
Now this one, obviously, it's no coincidence I put all the final arc fights like one after the other, so like we could just like talk about them and think like, okay, how is this going to go down in the anime as well when it actually airs? So, Byakuya versus Asnot. Now. Asnot, I will say, was one of my favorite Stern Ridders. He was so creepy, and he uses fawns as well. So it's like creepy guy that uses fawns. It's like, how much more creepier can you get? And as well, the fight itself was, again, tapping into that emotion, like one of your main emotions of fear as well. And it was meant to be the fight that would kill Byakuya. If not for the fangirls saved him, but it's been proven.
Is that canon? Is that canon information?
That is canon information that Kubo was going to kill off Byakuya, and this was how it was going to do it. Because you can see, like, at the end of that fight, when he's actually asking Ichigo to save Soul Society, and his Sonpatori is crumbling away. And it has been stated, like, the lore of Sonpatori is that they die with the Shinigami, the Soul Reaper, however you want to say, but that's kind of like the lore, and you see it like crumbling away, and he's literally like, if you actually go and look at it in color, like when Byakuya is like, as Tekken put it, drilled into a wall by Asnot, you see like his stomach, like his entire like skin on his chest and his stomach, that is completely gone and shredded, and you can see his organs. So
yeah, he's been turned to jam.
Yeah. So I think what was going on there was like Kubo was like, okay, I need to make a serious death in this series. At the beginning of this arc to show like, this is it. We need to pull this death switch. It's the final arc. Who can I kill off? And I think he picked Byakuya because he's like one of the more powerful ones, but not one that would, like, if he was gone, it would hurt the series. And that is basically proven, because when he comes back, he doesn't really do anything. Like, he saved him, but he didn't really do anything except for the fight when it got to Gerard. But apart from that, he never really did much. He didn't really have a major fight after the fight with Asnot.
Yeah, it's one of those where, like, well, Kubo was done with him, so why would he use him? He had everything else planned. He's like, I'm done with him. And I wanted him to die, and you forced me to save him. So he's just gonna sit on the sidelines like a little bitch and watch now. Because
and I mean, he could have waved like Tekken said in one of his videos, if Byakuya was like a vision, basically, like giving her like the confidence to go Bonkai.
Yes, yeah. That could have worked.
Yeah, but as for the fight itself, just for the fact that it was like shocking, just the fact that how basically Asnot once he stole Byakuya's Bonkai, and even before then, like Asnot was clearly in the dominant seat for the majority of that fight. So, and it was just like, could this be the fight that actually finally kills Byakuya, like one of the more powerful of the captains? Could it be the one that actually kills him off? So, I would definitely put it in great, because it's just like, oh my, these Quinces, they aren't messing about. They are going all out in this invasion. So what would you say, or would you put it in average?
I put it in average purely because the only thing I remember from that fight is Byakuya being turned to jam at the end.
Okay, all right.
Literally, I can't really remember it.
All right. Now, I think this is one that you probably will remember as well. Will probably remember, but I'm not really sure if you would. Yamamoto versus the fake Yuha.
Oh, instant god level. I'm cutting it instant. Instant god
really?
level.
Okay.
Instant.
I want to know why you'd think that.
Okay. So, one. A lot of the captains, you don't see their bankais for ages. And obviously, he's the captain commander. He has been he founded the Serete. He has been in charge for like 1,000 years. He's an absolute badass in and of himself. His basic Shikai release was reduce the world to ash. And it's like, okay, that's cool. So he's got like when he goes to release it against, I forgot the two captains' names now.
Shunsui and Ukitake.
Yes, that's it. And they don't end up fighting, and it's like, oh, that's such a tease. Like, what's he gonna do? Like, oh, this is amazing. And then you're like, okay, cool. He's just gonna have some kind of like insane fire powers. And then when it actually gets to it, he has 4 abilities, 4 insanely broken, very dark abilities. And it's literally the artwork was freaking beautiful.
Yeah,
like it was such good contrast of black and white. It's the only physical copy issue of the manga that I own because I love that fight so much. It's been teased about and anticipated for so long, and then it's like he's going up against Yuha. This is insane. Oh wait. That's not Yuha. Uh-oh. And then it was just so intense. Like such an intense fight. I love it.
All right. Have you seen the because there's a Bleach game that's come out where it has like the Stern Ritters. Have you seen Yamamoto's Bonkai in that game being animated, or have I not shown you it?
No, I didn't know that was a thing.
All right, because basically it has Yamamoto when it does the self ability, stabbing the ground, and you see them just like the zombies crawling up from the ground, and it's nice. and it's just like, oh, you can't wait to see that animated. Just like the zombies just crawling up, and like, go and attack this guy for me. And then
the fact that it's his subordinates as well, like even though it's not the real Yuha, it's like he recognizes one of the zombies. Like, oh crap!
And then you have that final, basically like if you were gonna say like the ultimate alternative to Getsuka Potential, the North ability, where you just have the kanji for it, like going doom, just obliterates the body at that.
So good.
Yeah, and granted, I'll give them the fact that yes, if Yamamoto went Bonkai, if he went Bonkai in the real world, it would basically blow up the planet.
Yes, yeah. Like the human world would not be able to take his power.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous.
Okay, so I can see your reasoning, and yeah, I am looking forward to that when that actually gets animated. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's still this year. Oh, now this one, I'm just going to say right away, this is an amazing fight, a brilliant ending to one of the most mysterious captains for the majority of the series, Kenpachi versus Unohana. So yeah, the reason I just love this fight on just for the simplicity of it as well. Like, it's just a straight up sword clash, and like I said, Unohana up to that point, like with Yamamoto, like you said, she's captains that was like in a lot of mystery. She was one of the first members of Yamamoto's troop, Yamamoto's Gotei 13. So she's like the second oldest after Yamamoto himself, and everyone is scared of her, which doesn't make any sense why they bullied the 4th division all that time.
Yeah, that's a continuity error, really, isn't it?
Yeah, because you'd figure like when with what's his name, the guy that joins each group in
actually, if you think about it from the timeline point of view, when she joined, or maybe before she joined, she was this cold. She was Kenpachi. She was the cold, calculating, psychopathic killer.
Yeah.
And then she gets beaten, and then she adopts this really sweet, completely innocent, beautiful, motherly character.
Yeah.
So if they've only ever known her that way and don't know about her psychotic past that she keeps completely hidden.
But no, here's the thing. Here's the thing, it was well known because you see before the fight starts, you see Shunsui just going over some records when he's the new Captain Commander, just going over some records, and it's quite well known. And like when at the end of Soul Society, when the 11th division are just making a complaint to the 4th division, and Unohana comes in, it's like, "Are you all right?" And they're like, "Yeah, Captain, we're okay. We're just gonna go right now." And they're like, so it was. I think like it was common knowledge that they knew what she was like. Like,
no, because surely that was the documents about what happened, or not? I can't remember. Because if it was about what happened, then it's like they've literally just found out that moment.
Oh, but I would like to. I think it is common knowledge that they do know that she used to run the 11th division. But again, it just doesn't make even if she didn't have that cold-blooded past. I don't think the 11th division would have gone away with like letting one of her subordinates be basically killed by Ichigo, even though we knew he wasn't going to do it to Hanada. Hanada, that was it. We knew he wasn't going to do it to him, but at the same time, you'd probably think like, yeah, if we let this go, maybe the captain will come and have some words with her. Do we want to deal with the captain? Nope.
Thing is though, we also should have all seen it coming, because she's one of the characters that always has her eyes closed, and everyone knows that if you have an anime character with their eyes closed all the time, they are literally the most dangerous person in the room at all times. It
kind of reminds. Have you seen Squid Girl?
I've seen like the first episode, and I know exactly what you're referencing.
Like that girl that's like the cook of like the restaurant, and she always has her eyes closed, and she's basically so inhuman that a group of scientists think that like, is this girl an alien or something? That's the literal explanation they come up with. They see her just doing all of these crazy things, and like, oh, she must be an alien. Let's catch her. It's so stupid, that series, but I love it. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. But anyway, in terms of the fight itself, I love how it's you've just got it's a very personal fight, and as well, because it's the fight where you find out like, oh, that's where Yachiro gets her name from. She gets it from her, and like they've had such a history together without us knowing about it. And when you join the dots together, it's like it makes so much sense. Like why Kenpachi is not at his full strength because of her, and how much she feels guilty about that. Like her being so strong, like what she thought at the time, that Kenpachi had to like put restraints on him, and I just love that as well. So I would definitely put this in amazing.
Yeah, I think I go amazing or great. Yeah, let's put it in amazing, because it's got a lot. Plus, he kills her.
Yeah, he kills her before we find out what her Bonkai actually does. Like, what do you think her Bonkai actually is meant to be?
Shikai do? I can't remember.
The Shikai healed people. Like her Shikai healed, and then her Bonkai. What we saw was that it turned to like goop, and then when she swung at the sword, it basically every time she swung a sword, there was like different pieces of their skin being removed until there were nothing but bones and skeletons.
So what if her Shikai, it heals by absorbing all of the wounds into itself, and then the Bankai is releasing all of the... So kind of like the little scalpel that the dude has. Like, it absorbs the damage and then releases it, but like hers is in a different way. Like, because it doesn't kill, it just inflicts pain. Because Kenpachi died multiple times in that fight, and he kept coming back. So maybe it inflicted insane amounts of pain to the point where he was basically dead, and then healed him back to full. So that's the worst possible thing. That's just like you're being stripped down to your bones and then completely healed back over and over and over again, which is extremely dark. It's fitting with the whole healing and secretly a psychopath kind of thing.
I could see that as like being an interpretation. Oh, hopefully, fingers crossed. Because this is the thing with the anime. Apparently, they're going to be changing some stuff. Like
they won't make it as dark because you can't get away with certain things.
Yeah, but I feel like they will add they've obviously gone to Kubo and thought and probably said to him like, hey, so what does her Bankai actually do?
Yeah, they might give a proper explanation,
Yeah. Now, next one, Bambietta, Sturmido E, the Explode, aka Michael Bay's waifu, versus Komamura. I had to do that joke because her title is just literally the Explode, and if Michael Bay saw that, he'd probably be like, "That's my favorite anime character right there."
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, again, this is a personal fight for Komamura. Do you have strong feelings about Komamura as a character?
I kind of forgot he existed.
You kind of forgot he existed.
I kind of forgot he existed. The only thing I remember when you gave me the notes for this and I looked it up, I'm like, what? And then I looked it up. I looked up who she is, and I was like, okay, one, I remember her. She was one of my favorites, and I remember her ability. And then I remember because he goes Bankai against her, doesn't he? And it's this weird kind of giant skeletal thing, which was pretty sweet.
Yeah,
but that's all I remember. I only remember those key things, those two abilities. I don't remember the rest of it at all.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Basically, he defeats her, and it's like once he goes Bankai against her, like there's nothing she can do at that point, and it's basically about him like trying to prove that I'm not this animal. I don't want to become this animal. I don't want to give in to revenge, and he gives in to revenge in the end. And then once he's defeated her, he basically goes back to being a mindless animal, and he's like, oh my god, this is what I was chastising Tozer for doing, and I'm doing the same thing. And in a way, that's kind of sad. Like that's kind of a tragic ending to his character. Like the one thing he chastised one of his closest friends for doing, he has now done himself, and he's paying the ultimate price for it. Like not being able to be who he is from now on, just this mindless animal.
Yeah, it was kind of tragic because it was like, Oh, you're just a dog now.
Yeah. So, but in terms of the fight itself, I put in average. Like it's just it's made up for in just those emotional, in just like that emotional ending for his character, which I'm sure when the anime comes back, they'll beef that up. They'll beef the emotion up even more for the doggo captain,
and they'll drag it out.
Yeah. So average.
Yeah, average.
Now, Renji versus Masculine, the Mexican luchador, Sturmrider, German guy, whatever he is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I really liked this fight, if not for the multiple times he kept regenerating himself. But it's funny enough because he has the fight where he has the most Bankais used on him. Like out of any of the Stone Raiders, and like any character in the series, now that I think about it, he has like 3 Bankais. He has Renji's new Bankai, he has Rose's Bankai, like with the dance troupe and that, and he has Kensei's Bankai used on him. So he has 3 Bankais used on him in one single fight.
I forgot that.
Yeah, but it's true.
I forgot this fight as well, to be honest. I was going through the list and I'm like, I can't remember some of these.
Right.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. But yeah, I did enjoy this fight quite a bit because again, it was just like a beefy brawl out guy. Like the more cheering it was just basically like just seeing like a Bleach wrestling fight, basically, because the more cheering he got, the more stronger he got, and of course we got to see Renji's new Bonkai, his fully realized Bonkai, where he basically plants the snake head down on him, summoned this five head behind him, and basically was just like, burn you into crispy bacon. Yeah. So again, I'll put it in an average fight. It's just because of the fact that he just kept regenerating. I'm like, when is he gonna meet his end? How much more damage can they do to this guy?
It got a bit frustrating and samey because it was just like, oh, we've killed him. Boop, I'm back. Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So average.
Fine.
Now I've got to say, this is probably one of my favorite fights in the final arc, Rukia versus Asnot.
Yeah, like you see her Bankai, and it's again beautiful art.
Yeah, I of course, and people were saying
revenge
like it
as well.
Yeah, revenge, but also people was like tying it into one of the Bleach movies as well, like with what was it? I think it was the third Bleach movie when you meet like Dark Rukia, or have you
yes, that was cool.
Yeah, so so like they were tying it into the Bleach, like that's what her Bonkai actually looks like, and like, oh my, it's so beautiful. But I love the fact that we just got like because Rukia is a character that's not really one of the more major fighters of the series, but to see her go fall out against the guy who nearly killed her brother, or rather should have done, and even and I've got to say, I think my favorite part of the fight is when Asnot is trying to use the fear on her. This is before she goes Bonkai. And she's like, yeah, if you want to try and use it, why don't you throw those thorns at me? And he does, and she's like, yeah, you can't do that because by definition I'm already dead, because I am. My body is in a state of it's in like
zero.
Absolute zero. It's like, oh my, how much more, for lack of a better word, cooler can you get with that? With that. Now, a lot of people were like a little bit disappointed. Like the absolute zero did not kill Asnot.
Yeah, like, because who did kill Asnot? I can't remember now.
It was Rukia with a Bonkai. Like, it was just like that nuclear bomb of white haze.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, she needed to get her revenge for the death of her brother. Like, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful to see. And it was like, oh, that's so cool. And it's like, you know, she's come so far from the beginning.
Yeah.
And she's the intelligent fighter as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great fight. There was a really, really good fight.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, the most emotional moment of that fight was when Byakuya comes in, but people were like, when that chapter came out, they were like worried, like, is Byakuya going to be the one to kill Asnot when this is supposed to be Rukia's fight? But the fact that he said, I'm not going to be the one to do this, I'm just here to like give her some words of encouragement, and then she's going to do it.
Yeah,
so
also,
like,
yeah.
Yes, yeah. And he finally acknowledged her, like, the one thing that she's been wanting throughout the whole series, she finally got.
That's a good point, because if he had died, and it was just a vision that appeared to her, because the visions are usually their own subconscious, it's not like in Bleach, because he'd be dead. He'd be dead. So he wouldn't be coming back to give her a vision. So she never actually would have got acknowledgement from him.
Yeah, good. That is that. Well, he technically did acknowledge her when because in the fight with Somari in Wakamundo, he said, "You attacked my pride," and he was talking about Rukia.
Yeah.
So he kind of acknowledged her, but at the same time, it was very good that he actually went and said it to her face, like, "You've gotten so much stronger. That was a magnificent Bonkai," which. For Byakuya to say something like that, that's got to be like the highest compliment.
Yeah, for her, yeah.
So, but where can we? Where would you actually stick this fight?
I would say either great or amazing. Probably. Oh, this is tough. I want to say great, but then, like you said, the art was beautiful. It was. I'm getting revenge for what you did to my brother. And she gets acknowledged, so I'd say amazing.
Yeah,
Asnot was just so creepy, and I hated him. So it was good to see him die.
Yeah. But also, he was one of the more interesting storytellers as well, despite how creepy it was. Yeah. Now here's a controversial fight: Kenpachi versus Grammy.
Below average.
Yeah, below average. But I feel like I was debating for this was one of the fights where I was like, do I include this? It's like, okay, yeah, because we have to talk about so much wasted potential with Grammy as a character.
I don't think we have time.
No, we
don't have all of eternity.
All right, so I'll just go quickly through my list. Okay, basically what you could have done rather than having a giant stone stadium, he dropped the meteorite, and stone stadium, like the giant stone arena. Rather than just having that, you imagine the ground that they're on as planets, and it just turns the Serite into just like the solar system at that point.
It's literally, it's like Tekken said, he literally had the powers of a god. Whatever he imagined would come real. He could put mines everywhere. He could make shark tornadoes, like thousands of shark tornadoes. He could have made Kenpachi's sword turn to jelly. He could have teleported Kenpachi into space.
Yeah.
He could have literally done anything, and instead it's really linear, basic attacks.
Yeah.
Not even creative attacks.
Actually, I thought of something. I thought of what he could have actually done. Oh, and by the way, I just want to quickly go back because I forgot to say this. With Byakuya versus Asuna, I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for how the anime is going to do Zombie Rukia. Yeah, because that's going to be like one of the more creepy images of that. But anyway, this is what he could have easily done. I imagine I am the person you most admire. He turns into Unohana, has her Sonboto, Bonkai, Minazuki. We finally get to see what it actually did.
Well, I think you'd have to know who she was in intricate details to get that, because if you didn't know it, then I don't think he could physically imagine it.
Yeah, but
like
Kubo could have written a way around that, but
no, because then he would have been too broken. And if they'd explained it, going, he can only do X amount of abilities, or he can only imagine within a certain area of effect or whatever, then fine. But then he freaking goes and clones himself.
Yeah. Also,
literally doubling his power. And if you double infinity, it's still infinity.
Yeah. I just want to say, because we've got a comment. Hey, Songetsu. Glad you could join for a little bit. So we're just on Grammy versus Kenpachi here, and we already know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just the thing is, though, the only thing that really came good of it was at the end.
Yeah,
where it's where it's Kenpachi's Bankai. Well, Shikai.
No,
it was a Shikai.
It was a Shikai, yeah.
So honestly, even though I want to put it in a below average fight, it kind of should be bumped up to average, because that moment of him going, right, well, let's release my Shikai and cut a freaking meteorite in half.
But then, awesome. but then it's kind of like was it worth sitting through what basically amounted to a lot of mediocrity just to get to that one moment? Was it worth it?
Nah.
Nah.
I don't know, because everyone had been absolutely gagging for that.
Yeah,
Everyone had been desperate to see it.
Yeah, I just want to say, Songetsu, do you think we should put it in below average? Can I just want to hear what your view on it, because he's stated that I hate that fight. So I think nobody likes the Kenpachi versus Grammy fight, and whoever likes it, I honestly want to meet people who actually like this fight, because I want to see, like, okay, why do you like it?
I mean, it's either going to be below average or meh.
I definitely put it in below average, because, again, like you said, the fact that Kenpachi went bonkai, that kind of bumps it up a few points. If it didn't have that, it would be in meh. So below average. And again, this is, if I'm gonna say this here, if they want to add filler in the anime, in the fights, this is the perfect fight to do it. You can improve on this fight so much. Like, just imagine, like, just imagine, like, instead of cloning yourself, imagine a Kenpachi clone.
Or yeah, exactly. I was just like, right, well, I'm going to make an evil copy of you.
Yeah.
Have fun with that. Oh, and by the way, while you're fighting that, I'm going to get 1,000 snipers to shoot you in the head.
Yeah.
You can't stop all those bullets.
Or while you're doing that, even Songetsu says below for sure. Or while you're doing that, I'm gonna create three. I'm not gonna create three torpedoes to fire you. I'm gonna create 3 nukes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So okay, there's a thing. There's you've not played D&D, have you?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so there's a broken spell in D&D, which is you summon Fae. So you can summon like X amount of pixies. And so say you summon 6 pixies.
Yeah.
Each pixie has the polymorph spell. So you go, right, I'm fighting 10 dinosaurs, like 10 T-Rexes. I'm going to summon 10 pixies. And then I'm going to have every single pixie turn all these giant dinosaurs into crickets.
Okay.
And then you just stamp on them and you win.
So it's basically like I know I mentioned this before. So it's basically like the poisons from Berserk, which I've never gotten over that. The fact that poisons were too OP in that game.
Oh yeah. It was freaking broke. It was broke. But like it's almost game breaking, because you could do that once a day. Like, any big threat comes across you, you just go, well, boop, I've summoned a little fairy, and the fairy's going to turn you into a fluffy bunny, and then I'm going to throw you off a cliff. Or
actually, if that happened to me, I wouldn't mind being turned into a bunny. At least I could hop away.
Well, this is true, but you'd be probably pretty fast. But it's just disappointing. Just so disappointing.
Yeah. Now, here, I'm just going to say it right now. This is my favorite fight in the whole of Bleach. Like, out of any of all the fights that I've like seen or read, this is my favorite, and it's in my top 5 anime manga fights. Ichibei versus UR. Yeah, I love this fight. I love this fight for the fact that this was the fight where, before we knew what was going to happen with the Seal Squad, this was the fight that was like the most hype in that section of the arc, where UI faced the Soul Palace for the first time. Seal Squad's there. He basically curve stomps most of them, and then he gets to Ichibei, and Ichibei's the one that gives him the most problems out of all of them. He's like summoning. He basically has the power to make words come to life. So, drawing the kanji for giant hand, talks to the hand Yuha, flies him right back. Basically, if Yuha didn't have the Almighty, he would have lost that fight. Like, quite literally hands down, because he basically turned UI into an ant, crushed him, and then was like, "Yeah, I'm done with you. See you later."
Yeah,
but of course, aside from the ending, and how it went down, I do believe I do believe that fight pretty much made why Ichibei was the strongest out of all of the Zero Squad, just for the fact that he was one that went toe to toe with the main bad and nearly killed him. And also we got him like just the creepy Ichibei faces. Like, have you read Record of Ragnarok yet?
No.
I showed you the trailer for the anime that's coming out.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. All right, you're gonna love it because it's basically what it is that the gods from various mythologies are like deciding whether or not to destroy humanity, and one Valkyrie comes in. It's like, actually, let's have a tournament, 1v1 gods,
Classic.
to see if if humanity is capable of surviving. And the second round is Adam from Adam and Eve versus Zeus. Yeah, and
okay.
It is one of the most like, oh my god, this fight is just so incredible. And Zeus has basically the Ichibei faces, but even more demented and insane. So that's kind of like where it reminded me of. But the best fight in that series so far is Hercules versus Jack the Ripper. So I'm just going to say that right now. That's going to be an amazing thing to watch in the anime. But this fight, going back to this fight, I'm going to put it in God tier. You had the Yamamoto versus Yuha, and to see one of the Zero Squad members just showing what they could actually do in a 1v1. Imagine if all of them were together. Well, actually, we saw that they got defeated.
Yeah.
Which here's the thing. I want to say one thing. Here's what I thought was going to happen with the Zero Squad. Like, I thought they were going to come back, right? Because it was stated that their job is to protect the Soul King. Like, Renji actually said that, and Yuha became the Soul King. So I thought they were actually going to fight Ichigo's group, like basically the whole of the Gotai 13, and it was going to be versus Yuha, his forces, but also the Zero Squad as well. Because now that you are Soul King, they have to listen to him.
Yeah, it's duty bound kind of thing. Didn't he have the ability to black out words?
Yeah, That's what it was. It's like his Shikai was the ability to, like, you threw the ink on it, and it was like whatever the ink splashed on would lose its name. So like if you splashed it on you wouldn't know what your name is.
So why didn't he just use it on the power of all? Like, why don't you just go, whoop, your powers are gone?
Because he thought he could take down the one who was basically. I feel like it was more arrogance with Ichibei. Like, he thought like, oh, this guy's coming in thinking he's a match for us. We'll show him how it is. So I feel like that was more of what it was at the end of the day.
It probably was written that way because it's like, oh no, I've made someone who can actually defeat him. Let's come up with a reason why he doesn't take him out in one go.
Yeah. It was kind of like the same thing with the ending of
poor writing.
Yeah, it was kind of the same thing with the ending of Bleach, like when it got to the point with Ichigo versus Yuha, which is what I didn't include it on the list because I was like, that doesn't even. Do we need to say any more about why that fight just doesn't work as a fight? Because Yuha was just so literally overpowered characters in anime and manga. He would definitely be up there.
I'm telling you, the series should have ended with him winning and actually being good. Like he redoes the world, and everyone just goes, "Oh."
Since you're here, why don't you just say like why you think Yuha should have won?
So a lot of Japanese things, like running themes and stories and stuff, is the whole, destroy and recreate. It's not specifically Japan, but I've seen it appear in lots of mangas and lots of animes and stuff where it's like, destroy the old, make way for the new, which is literally what he was going to do. And he was going to make essentially a utopia.
Yeah.
Now, you don't know what that was going to look like.
Yeah.
It could have been a corrupt utopia because they basically are Nazis. However, because Quincy are anti-hollows and he wasn't going to destroy the hollows, he was going to make it so everything could coexist. That's not a bad thing. And it would have, let's face it, it's in the Bleach universe, you could be a billionaire, blah blah blah, and then you die and you become a rice farmer. And the class division in the Soul Society is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Everyone is poor.
Well,
literally everyone, apart from the government and the Shinigami, everyone else is absolutely dirt poor. Yeah. And that is not for anyone, if you had a rubbish life or a great life in the real world, to die and then basically live for hundreds of thousands of years before you're potentially hundreds of thousands of years before you're reborn. Because you have to die in that world to be reborn into the real world, because that's the soul cycle, isn't it? So basically, freaking, like, it's such a depressing existence. You'd probably want to kill yourself, so then you got reborn, but you wouldn't know. So it's like, well, he would be changing that system. Like, it's potentially a corrupt system, and he could have completely overhauled it, made it fair, made it so everyone's immortal and everyone can live happily and balanced, and it would be fine.
Yeah.
And that would have been interesting to see. That would have been a really interesting philosophy and an interesting take on it. But instead, it was, nah, mate, you're magic Hitler. You got to die.
Now, going back to what you were saying about the whole, you go to the Soul Society and you're a rice farmer. Have you delved into Burn the Witch yet?
Yeah. I've watched. I haven't watched it, but I've read it all.
Yeah, you've read it. Yeah, well, that kind of throws a wrench in the matter, like, because the Soul Society on that side, that's kind of like more underground London.
That's not the afterlife, though. That's
Hogwarts. It is the afterlife. Yeah, because it was in like the one shot. It's Soul Society. Yeah, the West Branch.
So in which case, it's like, you watched Dragon Ball Z, haven't you?
I've watched bits and pieces of it, but not all the way.
Okay, so basically, when one of the villains dies on Earth, ages later, you find out that he is in Earth's hell. So every planet has their own miniature hell.
Right.
So basically, the way I take that then is that if the Earth is divided into north, south, east, and west, and the west is the Soul Society. So say if you and me, we go on holiday to Japan, and we died in Japan, we would go to Soul Society in the afterlife. If we died here in England in the west, we would go to upside down. We'd go into reverse London. If we went to the north or the south and died there, they're going to have a different afterlife.
Yeah,
but that also messes up that completely screws up the whole. Like, that technically, it completely screws up the entire Bleach universe. Because the whole point of the Bleach universe is we are keeping the balance. There is life, there is death, there is rebirth. There are the hollows and the Quincy, and like there's this delicate balance, as all things must be. Yeah. And then it's like, actually, on the other side of the planet, like, nah, it's good, fam. It's completely different. Everything's imbalanced. You carry on. So that actually doesn't make sense within the Bleach continuity. Yeah,
it really doesn't make any sense. Now, in the I have read translated spoilers for the Bleach light novel. So apparently, there is more to it, like how the whole realms came together, like where the Soul King actually came from in the first place, like where the pieces came from. Basically, the Soul King at the beginning in the light novels, it's explained that he was a Quincy. That's what he was. He was a Quincy.
Which makes sense because they can manipulate spiritual energy.
Yeah,
the only beings that can do it.
Yeah, and apparently, I believe it was stated that the ancestors of what would eventually become the 5 noble houses in Bleach basically stripped him of everything and created the realms around him.
So they rebelled.
Diced
him up and separated him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it kind of goes into more of like how the universe was created, but again, in the context of the canon, without including the light novels, you're right. It really doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any. It does not make a lick of sense.
All right, now Basby versus Hashwolf. the only Sturmrider fight in the actual arc itself, and one I did enjoy, but it was way too short. It was way too short of a fight. It should have been a little bit longer.
Oh yeah. Like
Yeah.
I liked both of them. I like
Yeah.
both Baz and Hashfall, but yeah, it was very short.
Yeah, I feel like the only reason why it was longer, as long as it is, was because of the flashback, and I loved that flashback. I was like, yes, we're finally getting a flashback focusing on the Stone Raiders, which the anime needs to expand upon. Like, this is one of the aspects of the last arc that needs to expand upon, the flashback of the Stone Raiders. And also figuring out what exactly happened, because apparently, because if you go back and read it, it actually doesn't make any sense what Basby's motivation is, because it's like because it was like when he first lost his fault standing, he was like, "Is this how you do it with towards Yuha? You betray your own colleagues." And in that flashback, when he was younger, he already knew what Yuha was capable of. So it's like it doesn't really make any sense.
Wasn't his motivation to join so he could kill Yuha?
Yeah, but when he was losing his spirit power, his fault standing, he was like, why are you doing this to me, Yuha? And it's
we won't even get into that, because that's going to come up in a later fight. I've got words to be had about that.
All right, which fight is it?
I'll tell you when we get there.
All right, okay.
I'll leave you in suspense.
Oh, you're leaving me in suspense. But yeah, what was good? Yeah, I would definitely put it in. I want to say below average, because while I did enjoy the fight, it was way too short, and I liked that we got like I like it was more of like a battle of brothers in arms.
Honestly, I'd say forgettable, because I can't remember it at all.
Okay.
I remember the flashback because you're given information, and Baz was interesting. Well, they're both interesting, but I generally can't remember. And it was, like you said, it was a blip fight. They literally hit each other twice.
All right.
I'd honestly say it was forgettable.
We've got other commenters. I just want to read these quickly. Gone 99. Yo, I remember you from like 5 years ago. That's crazy. Well, hey there, hey, Gone 99. Glad you could make it. Hope you can stay for the majority of it. Yeah. So, if you have any opinions on Bleach fights that we're going through, just let us know. But we don't know if you've read the final arc or not. So let us know.
If not major spoilers.
If not major spoilers, yeah. So we apologize about that. But if you have any opinions, just let us know. But yeah, I can see why you would put it in forgettable, and I can agree with that.
Yeah, it's forgettable. It's a forgettable fight.
But what isn't forgettable is this fight, Mayuri versus Ponaida.
Oh, I freaking love that fight.
Yes!
It's so good.
Yeah, what I love about the fights with the shoot staffing is the fact that I've got credit where credit is due with Kubo, is that you know how he likes to cut away from fights a lot of the time. Yeah, these fights, aside from Gerard in a few places, but these fights definitely got the time they needed. Like the times they needed. Ponaida was definitely one of the more interesting stories. Like, he was a giant hand.
A giant hand that could just keep growing and evolving and getting new abilities. And it's like, that's insane. And it was just lovely how he, like, that's the end of Mayuri's, like, his character development. He's like, and with Nemu,
well,
just waifu Nemu
just the fact that it's like she was this strong the whole time.
Oh, this is the thing. So it's multiple things. Like, one, she's this strong this entire time. He realizes that he's like, actually, I've become a dad, and that's more important. That's been more fulfilling than beating. And by doing that, I've actually beaten my rival, and that, like, he's beaten Urahana. and it's just such an awesome fight. It's
Oh
so
yeah,
good, and it's just everything like God tier.
just God tier. It's one of the fights that I would definitely go. That I am waiting to be animated. I just want to hear what, like, when Ponaida's doing all of those mumbles, like, and then it goes left arm me Ponaida. I want to know what his voice is going to sound like. That is something I'm interested in seeing. But
it's either going to be, I don't know why. I always kind of imagined it quite high pitched, like a child, because it's like, and then eventually, as it's kind of evolving, gets an adult voice.
Yeah.
Because it's learning to talk.
Well, here, I'll tell you my theory in a second of how that's going to go down. I just want to read these comments. That's crazy. From Retro Rhino's server. So that's where you're from. Okay, well, welcome. So you're very much up to date. Okay, we don't have to worry about spoilers.
Sweet, no spoilers.
Yeah. I feel like I tried to audition for Retro Rhino's project, didn't get through, but I'm not too bothered. Now. I kind of moved on from it and doing my own projects, like what I'm doing right now.
Retro Rhino's project is completely moot now. They're bringing back the anime.
Yeah, and actually, funny enough, one of the guys in Control Chaos, Red Alex, who Tekken mentioned in one of his videos in the way back because he took part in the top 10 Sonpot and top 10 captains polls that he did in his videos, which are long gone now. But yeah, he was going to be the voice for Shinji in that project, nice. and I'm more disappointed. Things just didn't work out. I got banned from his server. Was a huge. Oh, wow. Yeah, I got banned from his server as well. So wow, it's like I feel like he took on too much with that project. But anyway, I was more upset for him because of the fact that Shinji is his favorite character in that series,
he got to voice him,
and he got to voice it, and then it's like. Nah, that's kind of that's kind of like a big kick in the teeth for it. But he seems all right about it. He seems all right about it. I'm happy that I'm doing my own thing, and I'm doing doing weekly Dr. Stone reviews as well on my channel. So if you read Dr. Stone, which you should because it is hype. Yeah, it's so good.
It's different good, which is nice. Like I thought I wasn't really going to like it because it was so different.
Yeah.
And then it's like, actually, I do kind of like it. Like, it's not... It's probably my least favourite of what I'm reading at the moment, but I still really enjoy it.
Fair enough. But Senku has become my favourite MC because of the last chapter, because of what he said in the last chapter. I was like, that is so inspiring.
Shh, no spoilers. Shh.
All right, no spoilers. Anyway, back to Bleach. Going off on tangents again.
The Ponaida fight, we know where this is going right at the top.
God. Now, with this theory that I had with Ponaida, I've got, because you know how it takes over Mayuri's Bonkai later in the fight, and then it gets the intelligence of Kenpachi and then Mayuri. My theory is that when it gets to the intelligence of Kenpachi, it's going to start speaking in Kenpachi's voice, and the same thing with Mayuri when it gets to the intelligence. Like, so it's like Mayuri is basically having a metaphysical conversation with himself.
Yeah.
Now, what it's been waiting to talk about this fight because it involves my favorite captain, Shunsui versus Lilia. I love Shunsui as a character.
He's awesome.
He is awesome, and this fight. Again with the Yamamoto, I feel like with the Ichibei fight, it's very good. It's a very good fight up until the ending of the fight when the now, and I know you've had strong opinions on the now in the past.
I honestly can't remember.
the now his lieutenant. His lieutenant that basically comes in with the Deus Ex Machina sword.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you have to remind me?
Yeah, now I loved the reveal of this, like how the reason why she is in his squad because she is his niece basically.
Yeah, that there's the thing. Okay, so his character, finding out his backstory, finding out his Bankai, although it was a bit of a disappointment, was really cool. And finding out that she doesn't have a Shikai or Bankai because she's got this special sacred sword.
Yeah.
And this sacred sword is awesome. It was a Deus Ex Machina for that exact fight. It would not have been a Deus Ex Machina if it had been hinted at more previously. And it's like, oh, actually, you're the heir to this sword. I've been looking after it this whole time.
Like,
you're the only one that can wield it.
Yeah, like here's the thing of
you
how
are the queen of Soul Society.
Yeah, here's the thing of how it could have been foreshadowed. Is that, like, when they're first introduced and they're going and Shuzui's going off to fight Chad. She could have said just an offhanded comment. It's like, Captain, I'm trying to get my Shikai to come out here. It just won't come out. And Shuzui could say, could have said something offhanded. It's like, when the time comes, I will tell you what that's all about. Something vague like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you could have had other characters learn, like, oh yeah, there's this temple, and there's this sword, the sacred sword was stolen.
Yeah,
actually, little bits here and there that, like, oh, this is obviously important. What's going on?
Like, the perfect opportunity to actually do that is in the Sokyo-ku Hill, because because they're saying, like, the Sokyo-ku Hill has not been used for a millennium, and somebody could have said, when was the last time it was used? When that weapon was lost.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you just cut to Shunsui saying, and it's actually Shunsui that could have been saying that. It could have been like, when that weapon was lost, and Ukitake, like, or somebody could have said to him, like, "Are you sure it's wise to bring that up?" It's like, it was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. I kind of need to say something, or just vaguely like that.
See, this is the thing. All these things are making me think this fight either needs to go in below average or meh.
Yeah, I want to put it in average, just because Shunsui's my favorite captain, my favorite character in Bleach. I want to put it in.
No, we don't play favorites. We don't play favorites. Come on, like, I mean, honestly, of his fight with Stark was better.
Yeah,
his Shikai was way more fun than his Bankai.
Actually, here's what I thought before it was all revealed about what he actually was. That his Bankai, like his whole Sonpot Soul Spirit, was actually the manifestation of his wife and daughter. Like, he had a wife and daughter. He used Bankai that killed them, and they became the manifestations of his Sonpot Toe.
Or the spirits took on the form.
The spirits took on the form, and that would make sense of why he's so connected, quote unquote, with his sword. But also, I love the fact.
Did you have sex with a sword?
Of course he did. He obviously did.
Did you make a baby sword?
He did. It's obvious he did. But what else was what I was going to say?
Can you blame him? You've seen that spirit, right?
Yeah, I can't blame him. And he literally says, "I don't get to go Bankai very often, but when I do, I get to be in your lap, my flower." Like, he's calling the Sonpot Spirit his flower. That's an indication of romance right there. But also, I love the symbolism with his Bankai. Like, the story that was actually being told was a representation of his life, because his brother got sick in bed, and him and his brother and his sister-in-law both died pretty much at the same time, kind of like the Dongo's abyss.
Yeah.
So I want to put in average for those elements, but
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, this one was confused, because I'm like, when I put it, I wanted to put, like, Gerard versus everyone, basically, because he fights a whole bunch of people. He fights the Pfizers, he fights Kenpachi, Toshiro, Byakuya. He fights so many people.
This is the fight where I was like, I take issue.
Okay, go on. I want to hear what your issues are.
You're right. It's awesome that he goes up against all these people. but it's one of those situations where Oda has given a character so much power they are literally unbeatable, and then it's Deus Ex Machina. My powers are going to be absorbed by Yuha, and that's how you win.
Yeah.
Like, and again, the inconsistency of that power alone, because it's like, because some Stern Ritters survive, some don't, and it's like, well, how do you, like, well, some of them are burnt to ash, some of them die, and then get a silver artery, like a clot in their artery,
which doesn't make any sense.
Where does that come from? Like, it doesn't make any sense, that power, and for that to come in and ruin it. And then, like, Tekken did that whole, like, competition of let's do a fanfic of how would you have done it. Like, we could have seen loads of other people's bankais coming in,
like
I all thought together. All these bankais could have come together and defeated him, and it would have been absolutely insane. Yeah. Instead, it was, I'm all powerful, you can't beat me. Oh no, I'm being absorbed.
Yeah, and here's the thing, going back to that, it's been revealed what Shinji's Bankai actually does, and it is a reason why he didn't use it in the fight with Gerard, but he could have actually said it. Basically, the way Shinji's Bankai actually works, and I'll get into it in a second, just want to read these comments. Blazing Boy, hi there. Yeah, hello. Yeah, in case you're wondering, he's the guy who we spent like 2 days getting him caught up on Dr. Stone, and then
this guy.
Yeah, and then he's in the Discord server. He's a Bleach / Black Clover fan. Like, that's his username. So you would have seen him around, and he got me to read Black Clover, and Black Clover is pretty good. I will admit that. Yeah, so I recommend it. I recommend checking it out. You'd probably like it. It starts off a little bit slow, but once it gets into its feel of thing, it's like gets really, really good.
I've just started watching Demon Slayer.
Yeah, Demon Slayer. I read basically the majority of the manga, and it's like it's a mid-tier series for me. Basically, that's all I'll say. The episode 19, that's like so hyped up with people. I just thought it was like okay up until the last 2 minutes.
That's fair. But your good friend is right. It is an average. It is an average fight. Yeah, because there's no grace, there's no elegance to it. It's a case of big meaty monster, take a big hit, shrugs it off, keeps going, rinse and repeat.
Yeah. And it gets more points because we got to see Kenpachi's Bankai and Toshiro's fully realized Bankai, and Byakuya's like ultimate finishing move, which should have killed Gerard at that point. But we're going back to the Bankais. Like, Shinji's Bankai basically is an alignment changing ability. So like Gerard would become his ally, and then the Shinigami around him would become his enemy, but also the enemies of anyone else. So like Momo would become Shinji's enemy, but should also become Toshiro's and Byakuya's enemy. That's what his Bankai actually does.
They literally he'd get Gerard on the side, but everyone would then go free for all, trying to kill each other.
Yes, basically, that's basically what it is.
That's a freaking good ability.
Yeah, and he can only use it when he's standing still, like on a platform. So that it's basically useless in one-on-one fights, and he has to be alone using it.
And he has to be on a platform because he's like, everyone is admiring him, and like, we will serve you because we are allied to you. That's quite a cool ability, actually. I like that.
Yeah, I'll send you the link to the Discord server in a minute, Gone. But yeah, and also the what was this? Oh, it was the one Pfizer that didn't have their what was it? What was his name? The one with the club. You know the one that I'm talking about. You know the guy I'm talking about.
No.
Let me just find it. Let me just find it quickly. Like what he was actually called. Pfizer's Bleach.
Who did he fight against?
He fought against Gerard. He's the guy with the trench coat.
The computer game one.
Yeah, no. Yeah. What was it called? Love. That was it. Love.
Oh yeah, love. Yeah.
Basically, the way I thought the way what I thought his Bonkai was going to be, because it's like it kind of like it's masked kind of like an Oni theme. What I thought he was going to do was like he throws his sword up into the air, he pulls out arms out, and he goes Bonkai, and the Bonkai basically like Komamura's Bonkai, it becomes a giant. Only it becomes he basically becomes a Megazord basically. That's basically what I think. And he like uses it like a robot in the torso. So like he becomes part of that's what I thought his Bonkai would actually be, like he like that, but we never got it revealed. But we found out it was love. So I would definitely put it in average.
This is an average fight.
Yeah. Now this fight is gonna you're reaching. So I will try not to be be a fanboy about it, but Yuri versus Yuri versus Askin, amazing fight.
It was so good. Like
it was, and she was so cute in her cat form.
It was cute is definitely not the word, but okay. Like I just love. I also like seeing her and Urahara's relationship as well. I love that bit. They're in a relationship with each other. Yeah. They think I literally never doubted that, even from the beginning of the series. I was like, oh, okay, they're banging. And also like I just love how it's essentially a trigger word.
Yeah,
it just sets her off, and she's like, well, I'm a lightning cat now. Haha. Like he was such a good villain. I loved his power.
Definitely
really good.
He was one of those villain powers that are like not too that are OP, but not in the sense like it cannot be defeated.
Yeah. I think I wouldn't say I'd say it's amazing. I'd say that was an amazing fight, because it was like, whoa. I mean, technically that, like, I don't want to say it came out of nowhere with her ability.
No, because it's been hinted at before, because of the fact that she has the cat form. She's very cat-like.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. So it was an amazing fight. Amazing characters going against each other.
Yeah, and actually, I'm just trying to. Did I say what? You want to know what I think her Sonpato actually is? Like, since I'll bring it up here, is that it's a lightning based one, which makes sense because she's obviously a lightning. However, it's one that her Shikai ability basically means that she has to stand still to use it, and she just puts electrical traps throughout the area. And her Bonkai creates a dome around her and opponent, but she can't move, because if she moves, then her abilities are nullified, and that's why she doesn't use a Sonpato, because it's like it goes against her nature as an assassin. Kind of the same thing with Soifon's Bonkai. It's like, if it means that if I have a stationary Bonkai and I'm an assassin, what's the point of having it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that was my theory of what it is, my brief theory of what it was. But anyway, this fight, I love the fact of just how self-aware of himself Askin is in both these fights, because we've got Askin versus Urahara right after this. Like, he's just self-aware of this. Like, do I have to fight Urahara? Really?
Yeah.
But also, I love the fact. I love just how much it took down to take down Askin without being too overblown as well. But the fight is an amazing fight. I loved it.
So good. Good fight.
And it's one of the fights. That I am waiting to be animated. I think everyone's waiting to be animated.
I mean, there's literally like two reasons why they want it animated. The one on the left and the one on the right.
Yeah. Now, the second Askin fight, Askin versus Urahara, which wasn't really a fight that focused on like straight up action. It was more philosophical fight, basically about their ideals.
See, I'd say. You got to see his Bankai then, didn't you?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did. So I would put that in either great or amazing. Probably great, because like you're saying, it's a battle of wits, and it's exploring his character more. You get to see his awesome Bankai. Like, It was really good, and it was super hyped. I remember being like, "Oh, this is awesome!"
Yeah, and then Grimjow had to come in and do Mortal Kombat on Askin.
Yeah,
yeah. Which I'm curious how they're gonna get around that. Like, how are they actually gonna get around Grimjow ripping out someone's heart?
You just don't show it,
but they have to,
or you do it silhouette.
Yeah,
you
possibly.
know it's them. You're not seeing any blood or excessive gore.
Well, apparently, according to one of the main Bleach reviewers, James Hansen, it isn't going to be censored. So we might actually get to see it full on.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
But I love Askin's fault standing as well. Like, it's probably he's got a Pfizer. Yeah, but again, I put it in great because it does suffer from one major issue. The same thing with the Ashwolf versus Basby fight. It's too short. It's just such a short fight. When you boil it down to the bare basics, it's just Urahara loses his eyes, he goes bonkai, and then Grimjow rips his heart out Mortal Kombat style.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely put it in great because I feel like it can be expanded upon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, flip. Sorry, mate. I can't. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I hate this new mouse sometimes because it's got like the click, where you can just automatically click back on it on the side where my thumb could easily slip. So sorry about that. Now that we're getting into the earlier fights in the series, now that we've got the later fights out of the way, Chad versus Bulbasaur. Now, the only reason why I put like these two fights on is just because of the fact for this to be a Bleach fight tier list, you have to have at least one fight with each of the main characters. So, and as much as people like to debate Chad, he was set up as a main character, so you have to include a fight with him. But in terms of this fight, I really don't remember it at all myself.
I don't remember. I thought you were generally going to put the one of him against
Shunsui.
No, against although that was an interesting fight. Where because this entire time he only has the big shield arm, and then he goes up against what's his name? Ganti Biani.
Contemplate. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Contemplate.
It's been so long. And he gets his other arm, and it's freaking. He punches him into the wall, and it just erupts with his enormous skull.
You'd figure
it was insane. It was so good.
Yeah, you'd figure Chad would be one of the more top tier fighters in the series.
You would, but no.
No.
I don't actually generally have any idea why he was even included.
I don't either.
You could drop Chad completely and nothing would change.
Yeah, like here's the thing. You could drop Chad and then okay, you wanna show off Shunsui fighting someone, have him fight Orihime. That would be quite an interesting fight to see, like a chilled, laid back captain fight someone. A womanizer as well, fighting someone who's not really much of a fighter, and he doesn't like to fight as well. Like, he does not like to fight as well, only when it's called for.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that would have been an interesting fight to give Orihime, and then showcasing like just how powerful, really powerful and really threatening the world can be to her. Because aside from meeting Mayuri and the psychological torment of Aizen, she didn't really have any major moments after that.
This is the thing. Again, she was at the beginning. She was important, and she's like a love interest. So we've basically gone on to her fight without even finishing. Who was this fight against? Who's Chad's fight against?
Bulbasaur.
Who the hell is that?
I genuinely can't remember. I was just like, wait, Chad had a fight this early on?
That's when the school was under attack and his powers developed, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's when his powers developed, and that's where he was like protecting Kari, Ichigo's sister, and she was kind of like...
You should remember that. but you don't.
You don't.
It's important.
And again, another problem as well. Karin and Yuzu should have had more of a prominent role. Yeah. Like even you've got that right. Like, because you've had the princess in your books, and she's had like her younger brother who did play a major role, more so than Karin and Yuzu in Bleach in your series. Yeah. So at least you got it right.
Oh, thank you. For those of you who don't know, I've written a 4-part fantasy steampunk series called Terra Finite that you can buy on Amazon. Luke's in one of the books.
Yes, I am in one of the books, and like so many stuff with me, bad stuff happens to me, and we've both written books. We're both authors now, so we're both doing plugs here. So go and buy both our books. Mine's the one for me. You can buy it on Amazon as well now, and we at least did more for the siblings of our main characters than Kubo did.
Yeah, considering that they are exactly. Do you know what? This is a different discussion video for another time.
I know.
Quickly saying it, like they should have had all of the same powers as.
Well,
Ichigo.
not the hollow powers, but definitely
why not the hollow powers?
Because it was because the hollow was passed down to Ichigo because he was the firstborn. So
okay.
I wouldn't say the hollow powers, but definitely Fullbring, Quincy, and Shinigami. They definitely should have had those powers.
Yeah, 100%. But anyway, that's a different thing.
That's different. Now, Orihime's fight. I do remember this fight more than Chad's fight, just for the fact that the Trico or whatever it's called basically used it like its powers to like turn the students into zombies. So and turn her friends into zombies. So I definitely remember it more than Chad's fight.
That was, and I think the other, I can't remember if is it done in the manga where her when, because in the fight, because at this point I was only watching
at this point I was only watching the anime, so we're just going to have to go off with the anime here.
When her pins activate, they've all got the basically little fairies, aren't they? They have personalities. Is that in the manga? Because it isn't later on. I don't know, because it's
actually let me just quickly just go and
because while you check that out, I'll be like, so the only reason I remember this fight is because it's like, okay, cool, her hairpins are coming apart and they all have different powers. That's kind of cool. You've got a shield, you've got healing, and you've got a very basic attack. She's an all-round sort of character. That's really cool. But like all Shoujin Jump women, they're useless for the most part. Back in the day, because now we've got characters like Kohaku and Suika from Dr. Stone. Yeah, exactly, and Emma from Promised Neverland, and they've got better. Well done, you're overcoming sexism. That's fantastic. But this was then, and that's what's important, because it's like she was an interesting character, but again, you could technically take her out the story and nothing would really change.
Well,
not really. And I'll get to the thing that I think you're going to mention, like in a bit. But like in the anime, I just thought it was really weird that her pins also were basically turned into fairies. But then that also kind of goes with Orihime is princess, so she's a fairy tale princess. That's where I'm getting that link from. That's what I think that artistic license was, and that's why it sticks in my mind, because I like fairy tales.
Yeah, and actually, I'm looking on it that I've just gone with one of the random fairies like that. It's not showing any like manga panels where that's actually evidence that they were in the manga at all.
Exactly, they were only in the anime to pad it out.
Yeah,
make it unique.
Yeah, I can't find any manga panels where they exist. Actually, let me. So apparently they were in the manga, because I'm looking on my anime list and it says manga Bleach. So apparently they were in the manga, but if they were, then I can't see any evidence of that.
No.
Unless I went back to the official manga app and looked it up and saw like, oh, okay, they are actually there. I probably will after we've done this.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah, but yeah, in terms of this fight, I would just put it in meh, because after this fight, she doesn't really do much of anything. If we're being perfectly honest, and Blazing Boy, I know you're gonna say, this. I'd love you to tell me what other major fights was Orihime in
that she fought in. Give Chad some respect. He's the best.
Aside from the fight with Yuha, but then she was granted in that fight between Yuha and Ichigo, she did protect Ichigo with her son Tenkeshu.
So this is the thing. So okay, he's right about Chad. Chad is an awesome character. He was just poorly used, and you probably could cut him out. With Orihime, again, she's just a love interest. Like, she's the damsel in distress to get them to go to Wako Mundo. Yes, she resurrects Ichigo when he loses that one fight, and like that's it. And what's really annoying is because there were those 3 Espada. They were Stark's minions, I think, and they like bullied her while she was in prison. And like one of them basically gets killed or gets mutilated, and obviously Orihime is heart of gold, loves everyone, like thinks everyone should be nice to each other, so she heals them. And that one Espada is like, you're a monster. You've just undone something that should not be undone. Like, you've just resurrected someone. Like, and even I can't remember who it was, but someone comments basically she has the power to undo the will of God.
Oh, this was Aizen probably saying that. I believe it was Aizen, because it was like Ukiyo going, "Oh, she has powers greatly beyond it." Like, no, these were the powers of a god, but of course
they are never used.
They are never used again.
Why did he kidnap her again?
I think he kidnapped her to kind of reject, like, something to do with the Hogyoku, but I think it was more to test Ichigo, because Aizen basically has the Thanos problem. Like, he has a desire to fail.
Well, okay, so he does it. Say he more than likely does it to provoke Ichigo. That's more than likely what it was. Because I thought, because she has the ability to undo it, and she at one point she goes to find the Hyokuku, and she basically goes to like undo it. And that would have been so interesting if it turned out that was his plan all along. Like, oh no, I wanted you to undo it, and I'll stop you halfway through. When you've made it, you've rewound it to just when it was made, when it was at full power, and now it's even more powerful. Thank you very much. Bye.
Oh,
that would have been completely in fitting with his character. Worked. You've got 2 things going on: aggravating Ichigo and getting what you want.
Yeah.
And it would have meant that she actually tried to do something really important and awesome, but unfortunately, super manipulative genius bad guy.
Yeah. Right.
But no.
But now we can move on to more interesting fights like Rukia versus Ariel. And I've got to say, I apologize for the way I spelled Ariel's name when I sent it over to you. But yeah, this fight was pretty intense. An intense mind screw for Rukia, because it's like she's basically fighting. Let's be honest, it's confirmed at this point she was fighting the manifestation of Ichigo's cousin, because that's basically probably who Kaien is at this point.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, because that's why he looks so similar to Ichigo, and Ishin is a member of the Shiba clan. And they did bring up like it'll probably upset Uncle, and it was heavily implied that they were talking about Ishin.
That's a really good point, actually.
Which I need to just say this right now. I've never understood why people did not recognize that, because can people recognize like people are connected to each other through their spiritual pressure? Is that implied?
No, the spiritual pressure was it's Dragon Ball Z power levels.
All right, right. Because
The only way you could do you remember that one technique that Uryu teaches Ichigo to find the ribbons? No, it wasn't. No,
yeah.
No, it was to find the ribbon to locate Uryu. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then it's never used again.
For some reason.
And it's also technically used improperly because a red ribbon ties lovers together, not like I want to find this individual, find this ribbon. But like so if they use that power, technically yes, because all the ribbons are showing how everyone's interconnected, but never used again.
Yeah, but okay. Rather than spiritual pressure, I want to see, like, because Rongiku was there when Ichigo brought Ishin out of the dog guy. She was there. Granted, she was crying over a Gin, but she was there, and she heard Ichigo call Ishin dad, and we never got any follow up on that. Like, wait, why didn't Rongiku say to Ichigo, like, oh, my former captain is your dad? That makes perfect sense.
No, I know.
That's my rant.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair. But going back to this fight.
So in regards to this fight, again, just like with the Uryu fight against what's his name? The scientist. Why am I drawing?
Psylo Apollo.
No. The Shinigami one. Frick,
Mayuri.
There we go, Mayuri. There we go. Thank you. Why am I drawing a blank? So when he goes against that, the animation just freaking went up a notch. The music was awesome. There was the heavy emotional level because it's like, oh, I'm fighting against like it's also kind of implied to be a lover.
Yeah, it's very heavily implied.
It's a complete mind just like it just messes with her.
And I'd love.
And then you find out what's inside, and it's even worse. And then the way she wins that fight was so good because it was big brain thinking.
Yeah.
Big brain thinking. My sword is broken, but boop, ice sword.
Boom, even though it was kind of the obvious weakness where it was.
Yeah, it's a goldfish bowl.
But also, I would honestly love to see Ariel's reaction to Rukia being there before this fight. Because I could imagine it was just something like, Lord Aizen, please let me fight her. Please let me fight her. Please let me fight. Okay, go and fight her.
Yeah. I think that was an amazing fight. It was so good. To be honest, I think the Espada fight is probably some of my favorite.
Yeah, they were some of my favorite, and we've got quite a few on here actually. So where would you want to put this fight?
I do amazing.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Yeah. Now then, Psylo Apollo versus Uryu and Renji. This fight, again, like Mayuri's fight, was very interesting because it had like a matchup that you didn't think would work, but it worked so well. It was and if it wasn't Mayuri, if it wasn't for the fact that Uryu was there, Renji would have been probably a little bit screwed.
Well, they were like, even with him there, they were only just keeping pace.
Yeah,
they were still dancing to his tune. They were still complete playthings.
Yeah, quite literally, because he had the bean organ things that he could. Yeah, he had the food door and the bean crushing organs.
It was a cool fight, but really it was kind of filler to Mayuri showing up.
Yeah, I agree with that because that was the more interesting of the fight.
This was to showcase this really powerful villain and fill time until we could get to this really awesome fight. So for me, it was below average. Okay,
I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. But oh my, this is a fight that is quite heavily loved in Bleach.
Should we just go put it right at the top and move on?
No, come on. All right, because it's pretty much the end of a rivalry at that point.
It's so good. The artwork is amazing. Yeah, the music, the choreography.
Yeah, and I love the fact that it's kind of like Ichigo giving in to his hollow instincts of the fact that I've not come to Wake Mundo just to rescue Orihime. I've come to fight. I've come to defeat you, and I've come to defeat Aizen. I won't lose to you. And you just see him like just ripping through Grimjow's like ultimate like attack, like just the blue.
The big blue claw things. Yeah. Well, the best bit about the whole thing is literally the end, where again the animation just goes up a notch with all the shading and everything, and it's just slow motion, and he's looking at it in a way, and she just looks absolutely breathtaking, and she's just like, "Please stop!" And he just takes off his hollow. He just Hollow Mask disintegrates.
Yeah,
he looks at Grimjaw's like, "Sorry, I gotta end this," and then just freaking slashes him and drops him, and it's like, "Damn, you just dropped the mic on that boy."
Yeah, but also I do like the beginning of this fight where you have Nell and Orihime talking about what kind of person Ichigo is. Like when he says he's going to do something, he actually means it.
Yes. Yeah.
And that track that plays when Orihime's doing that speech, that like just that calm, soothing, but also sad music track. I think it's called Torn Apart. I think that's what it's called. But I just love that. I just love that track and how it's playing, because it's kind of getting you in the feels there for who Ichigo is to Orihime.
Yeah, that's fair. I really need to pee.
Okay, you go and pee. You
sing and dance and entertain the masses for a while.
Okay, all right. I'll read some of these comments while you're doing that. All right. So comment time. Make your comments. So, Blazing Boy, I know you. I bet you're very happy with us putting Grimjow on the top there, and hopefully at some point I want to do another one of these tier lists with tier lists again, but with Yu-Gi-Oh duels. That's one I've got planned. So hopefully we might do that in the future. It depends, but I agree on that. Orihime didn't had a lot of fights, but you can't forget she did slap Ukiura that moment. What was the best? But overall, I agree with. I can see where you're coming from there, but we're just basically like Orihime was underused dramatically, like seriously underused as a character. And really, did she even need to be in the final arc? That's the question we need to ask. Did Chad and Orihime need to be in the final arc? So that's something. But that's a discussion for another time. So we've got It's the King, God Tier, Grimjow. So I can take it you do like Grimjow, Blazing Boy. This fight coming up with now, I love this fight as well because it just it's just a character that you kind of been like seeing throughout the whole of Wakamundo arc up to this point, following Ichigo, and you don't really know what she's all about yet. But as with any anime and manga, the cute little ones are usually the ones that turn out to be like the ones that are like, oh my god, they're actually more powerful than they are, or they're actually a lot smarter than they are. Like with Suika in Dr. Stone, like she's this little tiny girl, little tiny watermelon girl, but she's one of the smartest in that series. That is not from modern day. So, but yeah, now I just like the fact that when even after she turns back into her adult form, could you recap me on the rankings? Okay, so I'll do that quickly. So for God Tier, we've got Yuha versus Yuha / Lloyd versus Yamamoto. Yeah, Ichibei versus Yuha, Mayuri versus Ponaida, Ichigo versus Grimjow, the final fight. For Amazing, we've got Uryu versus Mayuri, Kenpachi versus Unohana, Rukia versus Asnot, Yuri versus Askin, and Ariel versus Rukia. For Greats, we've got Urahara versus Askin. For Average, Byakuya versus Asnot, Bambietta versus Komamura, Master Masculine versus Renji, Shunsui versus Lily, Gerard versus everyone. Below Average, Kenpachi versus Grammy, Psylo Apollo versus Uryu and Renji. Meh, Orihime versus Shrika, Unforgettable, Basby versus Hashwolf, and Chad versus Momoshri. So those are the rankings so far. Blazing Boy, and I believe Sid is back.
I am back. Sorry, I've been drinking lots of water.
It's fine. It's fine. So I was just saying with Nao's fight, I love this fight. This is a fight with Noritora.
Yes.
I love this fight for the fact that it's one of those fights where you kind of like, okay, Nao is going to do something. This little girl is going to do something big. And then you get the twist, and then you get the bombshell that she was actually a former Espada, and then even bigger bombshell that she
is a bombshell.
That she is a bombshell, but even bigger than that, she was the third Espada at one point. So she was more powerful than Noritora, and I love that even after she turns back into her adult form, she's still the same. She's still the same now that we all know and love. She has that childlike mentality about her.
I did love it, and because obviously he's the reason that she kind of gets the cracked skull and loses her memories and
so it's kind of. Yeah, so it's kind of like a revenge match.
It's a revenge match, and she doesn't even freaking win it.
Yeah,
which is a huge disappointment. And again, is going back to what I said about Shoujin Jump female characters not being very strong, when they should be.
Yeah, here's the thing.
Back in the day.
Here's what could have happened, and Tekken did actually bring this up. Like, she could have forced Noritora to go into his resurrection, and then Noritora just slashes her, and that's what caused her to turn back into her childlike form. Just one slash from his resurrection.
Yeah, but she needed to win. It's a revenge match. Revenge match is you've come back. The person who is seeking revenge gets revenge. She doesn't get any closure.
Yeah. So
it's honestly, it's an average fight because it's, as you said, it's like reveal after reveal, which is cool. And power up, fighting against each other, power ups. That's literally every fight. That's generic anime fights 101.
Yeah,
and then she doesn't even get her freaking revenge.
Yeah, I can get behind that. So Blazing Boy, I know you want us to put it in great, but you've got to agree that those points that he's brought up are kind of like weigh it down from being great.
Blazing Boy, why great?
Yeah, come on. Let's hear it.
3 reasons why it should go in great. Quick, brief reasons.
And nothing to do with you know what. Yeah, I have to say
that fan art folder you've got. Oh dear! Oh my word, he's not even denying it, ladies.
I think it's just. I think it might take him a bit of time.
Yeah, no, that's fair. The thing.
Yeah, so we'll put it out for now, and then we'll come back to it.
Yeah. If he can change our minds with his 3 points.
Yeah. So come on, why would you put now? Oh, because of the shock. Yeah, and that's because Now's reveal was the best. Was it really? Because I thought the best reveal in the series was Baragon's, like just the way he's revealed in his skeleton form.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Yeah, unfortunately we don't have.
Why is that not fighting? That was an amazing fight. Why is that not in here?
Because I didn't want this to go on because we've been going for nearly 2 hours now. So I was like, it was tough. Like I said, this was probably one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. Like what Bleach, right? Because there's so many, and it's like it pays me to leave so many off. Like I would put, like if I was being like just biased, it would have been like, okay, I put all of Shrewsbury's fights here. Okay, I put all of Uria's fights here. Okay, calm down, time out.
Fair. Cool. Yeah. Okay, so next one.
Next one is now the one that we were getting to: Mayuri versus Psylo Apollo.
Straight at the top.
Love it. Very unique fight, and I love the trolling that Mayuri does in this fight.
The trolling is so good. The arguments about perfection.
Yeah,
that's such a good philosophy.
Which, let's be honest, that's part of the reason why it's in God's here. Just Mayuri's speech.
so good. And then the way he kills him is so brutal.
It's so brutal, but at the same time, it's so Mayuri and it's so unique as well.
And it's also like, oh yeah, I basically made my puppet daughter's slave thing. Like I've injected her with so many poisons that if anyone hurts her, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble because you're going to be slowly dying over the next 100 years. It's going to feel like it's in real time. It's going to be 1 second.
Yeah.
And again,
it's so brutal. And the slow blade through the hand and then into his heart, and it's so agonizingly slow. And it's like, oh, it's so good.
And again, this connects back to the Mayuri vs Ponaida fight when after Nemu is killed, you have Psylo appearing in his subconscious and just basically getting his post-mortem revenge match, basically. Yeah. And I cannot wait to see that anime. I just can imagine Psylo Apollo just like swimming around Mayuri's head, kind of like a snake.
It's gonna be so good.
Yeah,
I'd love that. That is it's one of my all-time favorite fights. I love that fight.
Yeah. Now another probably fan favorite fight for all the Kenpachi fans: Kenpachi versus Noritora.
That was okay. So again, one-upsmanship, and then he freaking wins with a troll move.
Yeah, with the most epic technique ever. 2 hands!
I just literally hold my sword with 2 hands.
Yeah,
and it's a basic kendo move.
Yeah, which you'd think he would use more often.
Well, no, because he doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, yeah, okay, he's right. Put it in amazing because it is such a good. Like, I literally couldn't control myself when he won, and it's like, oh, he's going to lose a cool secret technique that he doesn't like using because it doesn't go with his fighting style. What is it?
2 hands.
Kendo move. Oh, fudge me! This is hilarious. I literally bottled.
Yeah.
So,
and I love it as well because it's the first time probably ever in his life that he's thought, oh, I might actually die in this fight. Which for someone like Kenpachi to say, it's like, wow, this is quite serious here.
Yeah, like he was a very powerful villain.
But
very powerful.
Yeah, but could you imagine what 2-handed Kenpachi Bonkai would be? It would be a nuke.
That would be ridiculous.
Yeah. So amazing fight. Now, the fight that everyone believes is the best in the series, Ichigo versus Ukura, their final fight. Now, this fight is interesting because a lot of people that have read the manga, because I only watched the anime up until the 1,000-year Blood War arc. So people say that this fight is extended in the anime.
From what I've seen, it is. Where did I get to? I can't remember where I started reading. I definitely watched. I read the Ichigo Aizen fight.
Yeah.
I think. Do you know what? I got up to the fight for the town. That was it. They're fighting in the fake Kurakura town, and you have what was his name? What was that special Espada built to combat Yaman?
One device.
One device, yeah. So I saw that fight because that was awesome, and I saw the Chimera, and it's just insanely powerful. And I saw all that, and then it freaking stopped midway and went to a freaking filler arc. I was like, no, I'm not having this. And it was the second installment of that stupid princess. Nope, I'm done. So I just jumped ship and started reading.
Okay.
Yeah, this fight, I watched in the anime.
Yeah,
and
I did.
It was
interrupted
by. I think this was also interrupted by a filler arc.
Oh my word! No. What it was that Ichigo is that Ichigo gets into the tower, and he starts charging at Ukiura, but before they fight, that's when the filler arc happens.
That was it. Yeah. So this fight was awesome. It was
Yes.
obviously super important because it's like this is the final boss for this kind of dungeon. If you
This
see
is
what
probably.
like,
Let's be honest. This was basically the final boss for
yeah.
Ichigo. I mean, I said it is the final boss for everyone, but for Ichigo personally, Ukiyo was the final boss of like the whole of the Espada.
That's what I'm saying. He's the final boss of the Mako Window dungeon. I love the bit of like, you know, what is the soul? If I scratched out your eyes, would I find it in your
Yeah.
head? If I scratched out your heart, would I find it? Like, I like that he's trying to become an emotional being, and he's actually in love with Orihime, or I took it as he's actually in love with her. I liked that it was the classic. This isn't even my final form, because he has his resurrection on, and then he resurrects again.
Yeah, and then this is something that even Lord Eisen doesn't know about. Well, is that real? Because Eisen knows everything. So
plus, it's the whole.
does.
I have to do this. I am not allowed to release this form underneath the barrier. I have to do it above because I'm so powerful. And, and then Ichigo goes freaking ape on him. It was such a good fight.
Yeah, and again, it's like an extension of the Ichigo versus Grinjal fight, because then Ichigo was giving into his Ichigo was letting his hollow his hollow side give into him a tiny little bit, but this was when he went full on. He basically killed another living creature, which takes away some of his humanity. He just gives himself to the hollow in that fight.
Yeah, he just completely gives into the hollow, and it's like, whoa, mate.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Also, Blazing Boy brought up a good point. This is top 3 deaths in Bleach. Don't deny it. No, I'm not denying it. Ukiyo's death is one of the best deaths in Bleach. I am not denying that.
Yeah, so, like he's reaching for Orihime, and it's like, oh, the feels.
Yeah, and then it's like everyone wanted him to come back after that.
Yeah.
Even though Kuma was probably trolling them, it's like, oh, they want Ukiyo to come back. I'm going to bring back Psylo Apollo. I'm going to bring back Grimjow. I'm going to bring back now Ukiyo. No.
Yeah.
But he's saying God tier.
It's between God tier and amazing.
It's Ichigo, give me my waifu.
That's the thing. The sexist undertones of like, I'm just here to save the princess.
Yeah, but I've just got to say it now. Imagine if this was Tony Stark and Rudy. Give me back my Rudy.
Yes. Yeah. Thing is, because it's the big fight of that arc.
Do we think it's as good as Mayuri versus Ponaida, Ichigo versus Grimjow, Yuha versus Ichibei, Yuha for Roy Lloyd versus Yamamoto, and Psylo Apollo versus Mayuri? Do we think it's as good as those fights?
Gun to my head, no.
It's
beautifully drawn. It's beautifully animated. The music is fantastic. The choreography is great. The emotional tension and everything fantastic. But again, like I said, there's the sexist undertones and it was dragged out. There was filler arc that kind of interrupted the beat of the narrative. If we're just going purely from the anime, and
because we both just watched it in the anime, I kind of have to agree with that. So, 1 point away from being God, but very high, amazing, high tier, amazing.
Can you add a tier? Can you add just put it in a category?
No, I'm not adding a tier just for one fight. We don't do the heart. Yes, but we had no. Yeah, sorry, man, but we've got it. We've got to listen to our hearts as well, and we just believe
the heart.
We just believe that you're high. We're not high.
We're high on our love for Bleach.
Yeah, we're
high on Bleach.
We're just no. Especially well, we're not in America, so we're not listening to Donald Trump.
No one listens to him anymore.
Yeah. But no, no, sorry, Blazing Boy. We just believe that Mayuri vs Ponaida has a much more impactful moment than Ichigo vs Yokio, just for the fact that Mayuri finally saw Nemu for who she was. She was a daughter, and he was, and you could tell he was upset when she died. Like he was trying to hold it back, but you could tell he was upset.
Yeah.
Fine, what
feels.
Fine, whatever you want. Okay, so now this.
To be fair, it would go in both categories. If we could put it in both, we would.
Yeah. So if just consider it very low tier god, high tier amazing, like edging on full god tier. Yeah. Now Tozen versus Komamura and Shuhei. Shuhei
is turns into the bug.
This is where he turns into the bug.
I can't really remember it, to be honest.
I only really remember it for the grisly way Tozen meets his end.
Yeah, exactly. I just meh.
Yeah, I'd say just meh. But also, I remember it for like the aftermath where after Tozen's body disintegrates, Komamura basically looks up at Aizen and is like enraged at that moment for what he did to Tozen.
It's a meh fight because I can't remember it, even though it had an enormous amount of emotional weight behind it.
Yeah,
there's still such minor characters that I don't really care.
Yeah. So again, I put it in meh. Yeah. Now, Ishin, Yoriichi, and Urahara versus Aizen. Three of like the top tier fighters versus like the strongest villain in this series. That is not a god.
Yeah. Again, I kind of can't remember it.
Yeah, I can't remember it, even though it has.
I can't remember it.
Even though it has so many moments that are like building up the ending of building up Aizen's downfall. Like Urahara's basically doing all the Kido spells to kind of get one over on Aizen to kind of put that Kido spell in place where at the end of his fight with Ichigo, it basically seals him. You have the only other thing I can remember is that Ishin gets a Gatensho, and basically another Urahara Yoriichi moment where Aizen's like, "Oh, that's a fine outfit, Yoriichi. You're talking about my legs? What are you laughing at, Urahara?" But I put it in just meh.
Yeah,
because it's a fight that should be more memorable. Because, like I said, you have three of the strongest characters in the series fighting one of the main villains of the series. So it should be more memorable, but it really isn't.
Yeah, it's really not.
Yeah, but now we're getting on to quite some memorable fights because everyone thinks Soul Society is the best arc in the series.
Yeah.
Ichigo versus Byakuya, can we just say it? It's amazing.
It is absolutely amazing. Like I said, it's the fight that I saw that got me into it. That got me into Bleach. It's the style of it, the audio of it. It's so good.
Yeah, just say, okay, Blazing Boy, why do you think it's in great tier, the fight with Aizen? I am actually really curious now. Why do you think it is? I have no name. Well, you do, you Blazing Boy. That's what we're calling you. But yeah, can you give a comment of why you think it should be in great or amazing, and we'll come back to it. Change our minds on it.
Yeah, change our minds. Yeah,
but anyway, going back to this fight, I just love the philosophy of the fact that you've got Byakuya who has the philosophy of like, I'll uphold the law, versus Ichigo's philosophy of like, it doesn't matter what law it is, you should save your sister. And it's like those conflicting ideologies that at that point we don't realize that's what Byakuya is fighting, and he's kind of like trying his best to like just thrust all those frustrations out onto Ichigo.
Because it's this thing. It's not just that. It's also the first time he goes hollow.
Yeah,
it's like, what the fudge is this? Like, and it's terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
It's iconic.
Yeah, and even Byakuya was quite freaked out by that because it was like something he'd probably never seen before.
Well, no, they haven't. None of them had
Yeah.
ever seen the Vizards before.
Yeah, so it
Not
was kind
really.
of it was kind of like, oh my god, this is not something I'm used to. Could I die? I believe in that moment he was like thinking like he was probably going to be killed by Apollo Ichigo at that point.
Yeah.
Or let's be honest, what is Songetsu, like, because that's what Hollow Ichigo is.
Yeah.
But again, and I've always loved Byakuya's ability, just like the fact that the blade just disappears and he can manipulate the cherry blossom. Because cherry blossoms is like one of the most prettiest things you can ever be, and to be shredded by that's kind of like so poetic, but also so terrifying at the same time.
It's also like super. It's literally the embodiment of Japan.
Yes, yes. Just like
embodiment of Japan.
Yeah, and also I just love the moment where Ichigo goes bonkai, and he kind of like and Byakuya's like, that's your bonkai? What a joke!
Really?
What a joke! And then it's like you see him cover the whole cherry blossoms, and then Ichigo's right up to his neck. He's like, what? When did this happen?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So again, it has so many iconic moments in that fight. Like again, Ichigo again at the end of the fight when Byakuya is like, "How can we upload the law when we ourselves go against it?" Like and again, I feel like if I was gonna pick the most tragic when people say like, "Oh, what do you think is the most tragic moment in Bleach?" I would definitely say Byakuya's flashback when he's like apologizing to Rukia, and this is more emphasized in the anime because you have the voice actor doing this. Like when he's telling the flashback, and then when Rukia's sister dies, you see him just go like a little, like you can actually hear him crying. Like, but the other one I would definitely put is Shunswee's flashback. That really got me in the feels as well.
Yeah.
But I feel and this fight was like basically the catalyst to like, okay, Ichigo's right. I shouldn't hold my sister to these accounts, because really the thing that she did was I think he was probably thinking for a long time like, yeah, this is wrong. This is utterly wrong. She only gave her powers to a human. That's not worthy of being executed.
Yeah, it's not worthy. She broke the law, but it's not worthy of being executed.
Yeah, and that was probably going through his head for a long time. So I feel like he was using this fight to like test like what would happen if a human came to fight me and had the conflicting ideologies that I had. Yeah. So I definitely put it in. I want to put it in God. That's the thing.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, we'll put it in God.
It's what got me into the series. So
yeah, and it's like one of the fights you instantly remember from Bleach.
It's so iconic.
Bug fight, meh. There are 3 reasons I put on great. All right. So he's put the reasons. Let me read this. First, because it was the first time we saw Ishin found and use a special attack. It really wasn't that special because it was just Getsuge Tenshu just under his command. Yuri was great as always. Yeah, but I don't really remember much of what she did in that fight. And Ura in the background doing all of those scenes. Yeah, and blowing Aizen with his own. I can kind of see that, but at the same time, it's like it cuts away. That I feel like that's the biggest issue with that fight. It cuts away, and we just see them at the end, and it's like Ichigo was gone for 4 seconds, and then they got beaten. Oh, what happened? Yeah, but of course, as everyone says, it was the hair. It was the hair. Aizen's chair. I just want to ask you this, just for fun. Aizen's chair versus Yuha's mustache versus Hashwell's hair. Who would win in a fight there?
Deary me.
I think the mustache would win. That was the secret to his power the whole time. It was the mustache. But yeah, now here's a fight that I do really like Ichigo versus Kenpachi.
It's so good.
It's so good.
So good.
Just
like
just the fact that when he first appeared, when Kenpachi, he doesn't even appear to Ichigo at first, and you just feel his presence, like he's
that's
coming.
The whole point. The whole point of that fight is to introduce the Ryatsu. Is to introduce spiritual pressure, because it's the whole like, hey, I'll let you have the first hit.
And then I just love Yachiro in that fight, just like on the side going, Kenny, you're the kindest person ever. I know.
Yeah. Well, I just love it. I love because it's Kenpachi's introduction, and it's like, oh, so I'm so powerful. I'm giving myself multiple handicaps. 1, I have an eye patch, so my depth perception is off. 2, I have bells in my ears, in my hair, so you'll always know where I'm coming from. Oh, and by the way, 3, this is like a modified eye patch. There's a hollow drink constantly supping, drinking my power to keep me as weak as possible. Let's just take this off, shall we?
And then you just see the skull in the background, just like that creepy skull image.
Frick me! It's just the arrogance, but it's backed up.
Yeah,
and it's
actually, that's looking back on Bleach, at first I was indifferent to Kenpachi, but now I kind of like understand him. It's like he's arrogant. He's an arrogant guy, but he has the skills to pay the bills.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
it's a very, very good fight. Like, it should go only one, because at that point, because he starts it's like with Luffy learning to use observation haki to see the future during the fight.
With Katakuri,
with Katakuri, it's Ichigo is forced to learn a new ability while fighting, and that taps into his hollow power just enough or his Quincy power rather. Yeah, just enough to get the edge.
And then that gets Kenpachi like interested. Like, how did you come back even stronger? This is really interesting now.
Yeah.
I love the ending of that fight where it's kind of like even though it ends in a draw because they're both knocked out at that point, Kenpachi is kind of like humble about it. And he's like, "No, you won this." So he actually gave the victory to Ichigo.
So does that mean that Ichigo should actually be called Kenpachi?
No, he shouldn't. There's only one Kenpachi. It's Kenpachi Saraki. So
but Kenpachi is the name of the strongest warrior.
Yeah, well,
be him. Therefore, it should be him.
Well, then technically, the strongest warrior. Technically, Ichibe should be the strongest. Then, so he should be Ichibe Kenpachi. But no, I loved again the emotion at the end when Yachu's there with Kenpachi. It's just like, you gave me a name, Kenny. Wake up, Kenny. It's like all the feels in that fight, like so good. But where would you put it? That is the big one.
Again, I put it amazing.
Amazing, definitely. Yeah. Like there's I just gotta tell you this. There's a Can't Stop Me Kenpachi on YouTube where it's just basically this fight played to Don't Stop Me. Now I'm having such a good time.
Word, I need to watch that.
I will send you the link after this.
Please do. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I will. Now, Ichigo versus Renji, their rematch in Soul Society. It's in all honesty, it's just average for me because
I'd say it's below average because it was an interesting enough fight, but it was relatively short from what I can remember.
Yeah,
it's more about it's a battle of their resolve.
Yes, it is, and it kind of gives us an introduction to how strong people in Soul Society actually are, because at that point, Ichigo had only fought Renji in the living world, and now that he's in Soul Society, Renji doesn't have the restraints on him, so he can go full out and realize like, oh my god, this guy is better than me. I need to get stronger if I want to be toe to toe with him. But the fight itself, I consider it more of like a prelude to the fight that's coming next. So this would be below average, but the fight, Renji versus Byakuya.
So that's first time he goes Bankai, isn't it?
First time he goes Bankai, like is inferior Bankai because his Sanpato feels he's not worthy yet.
Yeah, I really, I liked that fight. It was good. I'd say it was average.
I say it was average.
Average to below average because I'm not a huge Renji fan, but
Okay.
like I just find him a bit dull.
I put it more in average just for the fact that it was kind of like Renji started to see like, yeah, this system is corrupt and I need to face my captain against this. But
what was that? What did you say? This system is corrupt. Maybe Yuha should have won.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me now for a second.
I was. I was like, maybe. Oh, look, the system is corrupt. Maybe Yuha should have won.
Oh, yeah, good point. No, I thought you said maybe you should have won. Right, I didn't hear the Yuha bit. But yeah,
go average then. Yeah,
I go average.
Agree with average.
And also, you get the moment when Reggie is just so full of himself about his Bonkai, he completely forgot the major flaw with it. Byakuya knows Bonkai too, and you see him like, oh, I completely forgot. I was so focused on getting Bonkai, I completely forgot you had Bonkai.
I do like Renji's Bonkai in this. In both forms, I really do like the design.
In both forms, I do like it. But I also like how Byakuya gives him a reminder of like, yeah, you may have got a Bonkai, Renji, but you do realize you have to train with it for 10 years to fully master it.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between obtaining it and mastering it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Goon99's pointed out a good thing that Kenpachi is the title for the straight killers, whereas Ichibei is a harmless monk.
Ichibei is not.
He's definitely not harmless, but he's
Ichibei is a harmless monk. Did you see him in that fight? He went full judge, jury, and executioner. Yeah. Now, after 2 hours and 15 minutes, we are up to the final fight in this video. Soifon versus Yuri. I had to include this one. Yeah, just because again, it's one of the more interesting fights because we know throughout that fight, it's shown the history of these two people.
This is the thing. It's a really emotional fight. It's also huge. Okay.
I was just going to say, I love Soifon's Shikai. Like even though she only got to use it once fully. Yeah, but it's still one of the more interesting. It's still one of the more unique abilities.
I know that she's a bitch and that a lot of people hate her, but I love her.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people actually do like her. But I know. I'm kind of indifferent to her. I don't love her, but I don't hate her.
That's fair. She's not my all-time favorite, but I do like her. I think her. Okay, so her Shikai is really interesting. Slight disadvantage: assassin should kill in one hit, but she needs two.
Yeah,
to do it.
But
then
like
again, she's like making all these butterflies all over Yuri's body, and it's a case of if she hits that once more, you are dead. Legit. So that's a huge threat.
Yeah, but let's be honest, she wasn't going to kill Yoriichi because we know exactly what Soifon is to Yoriichi. Rejected lover, but at the same time, I still love you enough that I won't kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, I love their backstory together. I love the fact that Soifon was kind of like always looking up to Yoriichi, and then like the resolve for her in that fight is like she just wanted some answers of like why did she leave unexpectedly. Yeah,
it was a good fight.
Again, it was interesting to see them because it wasn't like a straight up just like we're going to hit each other with swords. We're going to use fists more so, and it was like again just using more speedy maneuvers. So I would put it in great. It's a great fight, and it's it basically kind of like brought out more emotional side for Soifon at that point.
Yeah, that's fair. I'd say either great or average because it's as a fight it is just kind of par. It's like for its beats and for the emotional context and this and the other, but it was a really cool fight. So yeah, great. Yeah.
Right, that is the end of the list. I think I'm quite happy with the way it turned out, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So that's really all we've got to say, and hopefully, let's read these final comments. That was self-defense, man. He needs a room full of people to watch his fights. Yeah, yeah. If you're talking about Kenpachi, probably, yeah. But yeah, I quite enjoyed this. Quite enjoyed the chance that we actually got to speak again. Despite the lockdown and everything. Yeah. Now I do have like I told you on Facebook, I did have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duels tier list ready. So at some point in the future, if you want to do that, I'm up for it. I'm more than up for it.
Yeah, I'd be up for that. I was thinking maybe do a One Piece fight one as well.
I'd probably have to reinvigorate myself with One Piece fights in the same way that you did with Bleach fights. But I'd probably
if I pick the fights,
yeah,
and I'll send you the list because you know how to use this tier. I'm not a technical man.
Yeah.
And I'll send it. So I'll stick it to like major fights and
okay, all right, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the fights that would probably be in God tier would definitely be Luffy versus Katakuri.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so that's it. So thank you for joining me, Sid, and thank you for the. Yeah, and I'd love to have you again. We could do Yu-Gi-Oh, like One Piece. Could do Pokemon, Digimon, whatever. We could do whatever we want.
Do whatever we want. It's lockdown. We're going crazy. There's something to do.
So yeah. Also, thank you for joining us, and thank you for all the comments. And we will see you soon. So see you later.
Bye.